AITA for ruining my wife and MIL's, and family's, relationship because Mill was being overly flirty towards me? So this story starts a little over a year ago when my Phil, 70, was diagnosed with cancer. By the time they found it, it had metastasized into neighboring organs and eventually into his spine. During the time when it was first discovered, Mill, 58, was under extreme mental duress and would show up at our house, sometimes in the middle of the night crying. My wife, 30, at the time was very pregnant and so, with her permission, I, 29, would console Mill, hug, assure everything was going to be fine, etc. We went on a vacation as an entire family, and what we thought was going to be a kind of quiet experience was more of a celebratory one. The treatment was working, the cancer had stopped progressing, and he was in better shape than he should have been. On this vacation, however, my wife and I had a little extra time one morning and so we lounged out on the balcony of the suite we all had stayed in. To be perfectly frank, I had morning wood and was wearing tight shorts, so you can get the picture. Mill came out onto the balcony as we were stirring and I caught her staring at my crotch. We made eye contact and she looked away, and I greeted her quickly to make it not awkward. The moment passed and everything seemed okay. Except ever since then, she makes a point of lingering in hugs and brushing her breasts against me when she asks to hold our child, which is every time I'm in the room with them. So, I tried to make a point of not being in the room with her when I'm with my child or coming up with an excuse to not pass them off. So it all came to a head this past Thanksgiving when we met at their house. There was a moment when I was walking towards the kitchen and she came down the hallway towards me. The hallway is tight at their house and slowly moved past me with her rear poked out into my crotch. That was the last straw. I debated up until that point on telling my wife because everything until then felt as though it could be hearsay and Mill would just say it was all in my head. So the following week I sat my wife down and told her everything that had happened from until Thanksgiving and she was furious. She agreed with me, though, that it could all just be a misunderstanding and wanted to see how Mill interacted with me in the next couple of weeks to see for herself if anything was off. She watched and I could see in her eyes how much she was stewing inside when we brought our child over to their house and her mom immediately went to take them out of my arms and pressed herself against me in the process. I made eye contact with my wife and she blew up. Long story short, the family is pissed at me for starting it all and are calling me the a-hole because the family had finally gotten into a place of being at peace and Phil was doing better, etc., etc. I didn't think of it really in those terms, just how uncomfortable I felt with the situation, and maybe I am. But I thought I'd post here and see what you all thought. So, AITA?